Sean lost his memory in a car crash, completely forgetting his borderline psychopathic obsession with me. Once his family found out, they had their legal team process our divorce at breakneck speed. In barely half a day, I found myself standing dazed on the streets of a city on the West Coast, holding a divorce agreement in one hand and a massive severance check in the other. After being suffocated by Sean's extreme control for so long, I actually felt a little lost now that I had my freedom back. I settled down in this new city and started a quiet, mundane new life. Until one day, while grocery shopping at the neighborhood farmer's market, someone clamped a hand over my mouth and nose from behind. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a dimly lit but incredibly familiar basement suite, and a man's low, crisp voice echoed in my ear. "Be a good girl and be my woman. I can give you everything you want." Great. God, it's exactly like before. 1. By the time I found out about Sean's amnesia, a full week had passed since his car accident. The ER doctors had fought for hours just to save his life. When his mother, Mrs. Lindsay, told me about it, she wiped away tears while glaring at me with blazing fury. "If he hadn't gone looking for you, Sean wouldn't be in this state," she spat, a mix of grief and anger. According to her, Sean had been at a clinic undergoing psychotherapy with his psychiatrist. When he realized I had slipped away, he immediately jumped into his Aston Martin and sped onto the interstate to chase me down. In a moment of distraction, he crashed head-on with a speeding heavy semi-truck. Thank God his car had top-tier safety features, and the truck driver managed to jerk the steering wheel at the last critical second. Otherwise, he would have gone straight to meet his maker. Suddenly, it all made sense. Oh, so that was it. No wonder he hadn't come for me after all those days. I had assumed the GPS tracker he planted on me was broken. He made me waste a whole week blowing in the wind on that private Caribbean island for nothing. 2. I was the wife Sean had forced to stay by his side using every trick in the book. Honestly, I didn't think there was anything particularly dazzling about me that would attract him. I was just a bottom-rung office drone making base salary, while he was the CEO of an entire corporate empire. Thinking back, the only real interaction we ever had was at the company's annual gala, where I smashed a bottle of Bordeaux over his cousin's head for sexually harassing a female intern. At the time, I thought I was definitely getting fired. Who knew that the very next day, an internal transfer email was sitting in my inbox? It moved me directly from that crumbling regional branch to the Manhattan headquarters, a place everyone fought tooth and nail to get into. My salary tripled, and I started working my tail off for him like a loyal mule. Sean seemed to appreciate me immensely. He always gave me gentle smiles, had HR give me raises and promotions every few days, ruthlessly fired the department head who made my life difficult, and even used his private security to help me shake off a stalker ex-boyfriend. He recognized my competence and covered up every single mistake I made at work. He treated a pair of cheap $10 cufflinks I gave him like they were Patek Philippe, wearing them on the cuffs of his French shirts day in and day out for 10 years. I often marveled at my ridiculous good luck, practically praying to the night sky every evening after work, thanking God for blessing me with such an incredible boss. I was even willing to work for him for the rest of my life. Until one time, I had a few too many glasses of whiskey at a party. In my hazy state, Sean helped me into the back seat of his Rolls-Royce. He let me lean against the broad shoulder of his tailored suit, saying in a soft voice, "Sleep. I'll have the driver take you back to your apartment." My alcohol tolerance had always been terrible, and I drank way too much that night. Normally, that would have knocked me out until dawn, but as luck would have it, I woke up halfway through the ride. And the moment I opened my eyes, I saw the high and mighty Sean secretly kissing my lips. 3. The secret was completely out. Sean just dropped the act altogether and confessed his obsession with me. A billionaire's pursuit is always blunt and suffocatingly intense. private helicopters, luxury yachts, haute couture, antique paintings. If I could imagine it, Sean could afford to give it to me. And setting aside all those material things, the man himself was absolutely flawless. He had deep-set features, broad shoulders, and a lean waist. When he smiled, there was a charming, roguish flair. When he didn't, he exuded a chaste, untouchable purity. Whenever we walked down Fifth Avenue, passers-by would shoot me looks of pure envy. But I'm a deeply pragmatic person. If I don't like someone, I just don't like them. I figured if this was some elaborate romance scam, I'd at least con him until he was bankrupt. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Even I didn't want to admit it, but beneath all the mountains of cold, hard cash was his genuine, unreserved heart. Playing with someone's genuine feelings is a one-way ticket to hell. So, after I explicitly rejected his advances yet again, Sean completely lost it. He had a secluded private estate on Long Island, and in the basement of that estate was an airtight, high-tech safe room. If I ever dared to run, he'd drag me into that room and possess me with zero restraint. When it was over, with the flush still fading from his face, he'd use his staggering trust fund and connections to coerce me into marrying him. "Be my woman and I'll give you everything you want." He threatened that if I dared to refuse, he'd destroy everything I had and lock me in that estate forever, never letting me go anywhere. Of course, he made those controlling, vicious threats countless times, but he never actually followed through. Every time his bodyguards brought me back, he'd look at my apathetic, indifferent expression and get so angry his eyes would turn red, tears welling up in his eyes. And then I would behave for a while, because I had to admit he was actually pretty sexy when his eyes got red like that. At first, this whole cat-and-mouse game felt kind of novel, but as time went on, even I got bored. I couldn't escape his grasp, and he couldn't bear to actually hurt me. Besides, the estate was massive, full of unexplored rooms and scenery. Being locked in a cramped safe room to hook up wasn't exactly a long-term solution. So I picked a sunny morning, went to City Hall with him, and signed the marriage license. Most of the time, Sean displayed absolute dominance around me. Like any man in power used to taking what you wanted, he'd have loved to fill my phone with spyware and track my whereabouts every second of the day. But deep down, he was plagued by an undeniable sense of insecurity. He knew perfectly well he had forced this marriage using despicable means, so he never actually dared to clip my wings and treat me like a caged canary. He was paranoid and possessive. He'd lose his mind if he couldn't see me for even a short while. Eventually, tormented by both his insecurity and his obsessive possessiveness, Sean couldn't help himself. While I was asleep, he secretly implanted micro GPS trackers in my smartphone and my everyday jewelry. Whenever he noticed I'd been out for more than 24 hours, his motorcade would show up within the hour to forcibly bring me back to the estate. Once I figured this pattern out, I just started treating him like a free cross-state private airline. When I got tired of walking around outside, I'd just find a random motel and sleep, because I knew that when I woke up, I'd be in silk pajamas tucked safely in the California king bed in the master bedroom. It was faster and more convenient than a teleportation portal. The price, of course, was waking up to find new marks on my body from Sean's rough treatment.
4. This time, I miscalculated. I just wanted to spend the weekend at that private Caribbean island he gave me, but after waiting on the beach for 3 whole days, I didn't get a single phone call from him. I sat on the beach chair enjoying the ocean breeze while repeatedly checking if the tracker in my jewelry was waterlogged and broken. I even started wondering if one of Elon Musk's satellites had crashed out of orbit. Never in a million years did I think Sean had been in a severe car crash. But this was great. Now he had amnesia and had completely forgotten about me. When his assistant reported that he was actually married, Sean just waved it off coldly. Have the legal team process the divorce. I have absolutely no memory of this woman. A few casual strokes of fate turned this disaster into a blessing for everyone involved. Sean went back to being the cold, untouchable, aristocratic Wall Street executive who stayed far away from women. His mother finally got her wish to arrange a marriage with a socialite from an old money family of equal status. And me? I was finally free. And as compensation, I got $80 million. Before I left, Mrs. Lindsay sternly warned me to take the money and never appear in front of her son again. Sean's morbid obsession with you was just PTSD from his psychological trauma. Now his psychiatrist says he's almost cured. Don't go getting any ideas that he'll start obsessing over you again. I'd heard rumors about Sean's psychological issues, severe childhood trauma that left him with paranoid personality disorder. Maybe that was the root of his obsession with me. In hindsight, it made total sense. What normal, modern person would completely disregard a woman's consent, illegally imprison her, and force her into marriage? That 3-year marriage felt like an absurd dream. Now that I was awake, the estate, the yachts, the diamonds, the safe room, they were all gone. The only thing left was the heavy weight of $80 million in my bank account. Mrs. Lindsay told me to roll as far away as possible. I've always been a person of my word, so I pulled up a map, found a West Coast city as far from Sean's New York as